Hello, my friends. Welcome to Go Keys for Dummies. And that's okay because not everyone is born with perfect pitch. Some of us have to struggle before we even remotely get one chord in a song. My goodness. All right. So today I'm going to share with you my perspectives and my secrets to playing scales on chords. Now, when I first started out playing keyboards, I always wondered, how did people solo? I mean, what's the secret? It's so awesome to see people just solo. So for the longest time I wanted to. And I was so elated when my teacher for the first time taught me the blues scale. Taught me, and I realized, oh, that's the blues scale on A, but relative to C, A is the sixth. So all I need do to sound half good is play the blues scale on the sixth note on any key. So on the key of C, if these are the chords I'm playing on the key of C, I just play the blues scale. So it's A, G, E, E flat, D, C, A. So because I know the blues scale on A works well on C, right? Even though it's A blues, we're on C, I just play that, and that's how I started. And it's kind of formulaic, if you will, but you got to break away from just the monotonous, you have to be a bit more creative with it. So introduce a few slurs, like oops, like. You can play two notes together. I get creative, but that's where I start leaving the blues scale. So instead of it being in that context, as long as I'm on the white notes, I could play gloves. I call them gloves. So I could play, so this is really like a C, the C, second inversion of C. So I could play, but I go down, like, just keep playing that pattern. Call it a glove. And it gets to the point you kind of forget the notes you're playing and you just play the glove. So that's another inversion. That's really just F, but inversion. And imagine if you knew this on all the 12 keys, you'd be so deadly. But it's a lot of work to know this on all the keys. That flawless. So you got to practice. That's it. You got to practice the expression. When I met Chick Corea, one of the things he told me was, play it if it sounds good to you. Because I asked him, what's the trick to soloing? And Chick said, it's really about what you hear. Don't go by canned scales and so on. Scales are good, but you got to leave the scale and play from your heart. And that's what he told me, and it set me free. This was back in 2001, when I met him at Cabot Hall, and I started trying to listen out for what sounded good. So when I play chords today, I'm not thinking pentatonic anymore. I'm just thinking, like, instead of thinking, feel it. So if I play this, see, so that includes notes not on the key of C, like F sharp. It becomes like speech. You don't think before you speak all the time, like, oh, I'm going to say A, then I'm going to say B. No, you're so used to it that the words just flow. And that's how it needs to become through constant practice. Now, you could make choices to be intentionally rudden in your notes. Like if I want to be rudden, I intentionally could be like this. But after a point, I'm not really thinking. See what I'm saying? I'm not thinking because I've done it so much, it becomes a reflex action. But to get there, the pentatonic scale is a good crutch that you have to ditch at some point, or you'll be forever doomed in pentatonic scale hell. You don't want to be there. You want to get out of pentatonic scale hell. So you got to just practice your chords, practice holding some chords, and just playing something that is not canned. You get what I mean? Depending on the level you're at. Like, why play a C when you can play a G sharp major 7th and do something else? And it comes with just practice. So the summary of what I'm saying, my friends, to solo, to be able to play, chords on this, you're comping with this, but you're soloing with this. Of course, there's a level of fluency of scales that you need, right? So you have to practice all that, but a time needs to come where you are now, in the passage of time, putting in a little bit more flavor in. So let me think. When I started playing, I really didn't put a whole lot of embellishment in until started going to about a year and a bit. And I joined a band after playing for about a year plus. And yeah, the band leader would call out that you have to play a solo. So for the longest time, I tried to cram solos, what I would play, try to make it all scripted. And it got to a point I started experimenting more. And the more you play, the more you practice. You got to put in that time. So my left hand, before it got so developed to play chords, it's a struggle. I started learning late. 17 is late. I mean, you got whiz kids running loops around the keyboard already at the age of 6 and 7. So I was late in coming to the party. I had a good ear, but I didn't get a teacher early. So I really had to put time into developing my left hand and, music theory, just going through books, going to the library, studying, listening to the greats, listening over and over to people. But you got to practice. There's no substitute for it. You just got to do it. And some days it would be 4-hour practices, 5 hours, sometimes all day. And when it comes to sequencing and programming on the keyboards like the Korg 01W and the M1, it would be like a whole day, entire day. So I want to encourage you to spend time practicing. Practice makes perfect. It's true. There's no shortcuts. Well, the pentatonic scale is a kind of shortcut. And there are little runs that you can practice on the pentatonic scale. That's the first one I learned, and I never let it go after that. I kept on using it everywhere. But that same, you know, you could apply that to other chordal structures like this G sharp, major 7 flat 5. I could apply, so it's not, it is. And so on and so forth. Another way you can solo effectively is by learning the arpeggios of the chords that you play. So if I'm soloing, I could play, but you got to practice them. These keys are a little bit tiny, so they're hard. But what I'm saying is just practice all those chords over and over again, and you get better. For those who play by ear, predominantly, try to get some solid theory so that you know the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, all that stuff. So when someone says, play a 13th note of C sharp, you know it's, what, B flat. So the 13th of C sharp will be that. So you got to know these 13th chords, right? That's B flat 13th, G sharp 13th, F sharp 13th, C. I learned all my 13th chords like that. And so on. You got to put that time in, because it's not going to come magically. You know, those chord formations that you play, you got to put time into playing them daily and over and over. Okay? The other question that came in that actually triggered this video is about the scales played when you hold a chord. So let me give you a practical illustration. Let's see if we can find something fun. Chill out. That sounds good. B flat. So it's on D minor. All right, we'll make a good illustration. Okay, so we're on D minor, right? So the D minor scale is what I would use predominantly. So because I run through the phrases so quickly, the notes that would appear wrong don't sound wrong when you do it intentionally. See that? It's just pentatonic and other stuff I throw in. Get it? Okay, so let's go back here and let's mute that accompaniment because I want to illustrate something to you. So it's on D minor, right? Now, if I wanted to play some chords that are outside of the key, I could force them in. So I'm going to play like an F major 7th, which is really like the D minor 9, right? Because we're on D minor. So what kind of scale would I play? It would have these notes. So I could go from C, G, A. See that? Because it's got F, A, C, and E. So I could see? These are the notes in the chord. See there? So I target the notes, and I could start from here and go, see? Because that is in there. So what I'm doing here is moving in between chords, but playing scales that complement the chord. So here I could play, because E's there. I'm really targeting the E. See what I did there? I played chromatic to E, but I could also play just something else, but all roads are leading to that E. If I go to F sharp, I would play either a C sharp major scale, like, but I wouldn't end on the 1. That's a little bit too obvious. I would end on something like the 7. So I could go from here. So you saw what I did. That was really C sharp major scale. See? So I could go. See? Let's do E flat. See that? That's just E flat major, but with reference to the D. A lot of times I land on the 7th. That's just 7th. So that's the 7, that is the sharp 4, that is the 3rd, and that is the 7th. So, see. That's all just on the minor key. See. I don't even know what that is. It's just, it feels good. So I play it. But I know where I'm targeting because I'm holding a diminished 7th of C. You get the idea, and it sounds even more interesting when you give it some wholesome reverb. So if I put it into cathedral and I crank up the reverb, it sounds more profound, but it's really just feels. It's really just feels. See, that was that C sharp major, C sharp major scale ending on the 7th. See. That's just the arpeggio of the chord. It's just, that's all it is. That's just the diminished chord. That's just D ninth. And you should have enough of these in your repertoire so you can use them. Everyone knows that chord, right? Going back to the minor. It's still that, 13th shape, but with a different bass. So this is C 13th, but if I were to play an F sharp bass, this suggests going back to B minor. But if I hold the same chord, with a C bass, it's just C 13th. So these shapes, a lot of these shapes could be helpful. It's the major 7 with a flatted 5th. And this shape could be used in so many instances, so many places. What makes it sound so enigmatic is it has pieces of the whole tone scale, and then it changes drastically at the top. So it's really, see that? But it's so useful in so many settings that it's worth learning, the major 7 with a flatted 5th on all the keys. You could even use pieces of it in solos. These piano keys, they're hard, I tell you. This Go keys, because I'm so used to heavier. So if you learn them, they could really come in handy when going to minor chords like that, or when just playing blues, like B flat. That same chord, just the same shape. Same shape. That's the 9th relative to B flat. That's the same chord, just on F 13th. Same chord, G 13th. See. It's definitely worth practicing. So just hold a straight major 7, flatten the 5th, and off you go. Those are runs that I play in solos. So when you say, oh, what chord, or what am I playing? It's just that same chord, but run. There's no trickery, no magic. It's just lots of intentional practice, right? That's how you do it. All right. Well, I hope it gave you some context. Hope you got some ideas. So when you play a chord like A major 7, just remember you've got options. You can run like that. Or you could choose to run it from the 3rd. See? Or you could remove some notes and just say, and the more you practice on diverse keys, the more ideas you have. Okay? So let me give you a very quick demonstration using this. Here we go. I'll play my own chords now. Let's go back here so you can see what I'm holding. C sharp, major 7th, C major 7th, D major 7th, E major 7th, F sharp, F. And when you're at a loss, you can just play the pentatonic of that key. Pentatonic. So D blues, right? Or D pentatonic. Just pentatonic. 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 Now on F, C minor. Now this is just C pentatonic or C blues. That chords I told you about. Watch that same chord coming up. That's it. That was just chromatic. 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 You got to practice your chromatics. See how I'm sneaking in the F sharp, even on the key of C. Could go. Even C sharp. Watch this. All right. So I hope that gave you some food for thought. If you are on the key of C, C blues, but that works when you're on E flat. So now there's a little difference between the C minor pentatonic and C major pentatonic. The C major pentatonic is really the same notes in the A blues, but it doesn't have that flat 5. So it's just C, D, E, G, A, C. That's the C major pentatonic. Has the same notes except that one in A. So this is A blues. Very similar to C major pentatonic that doesn't have this but has everything else. Versus, so if I was on the key of C, I can play this all day. And I could also sneak in that flat 5 relative to A, I could play that note. It's a good passing note. It's used a lot. All right, so that's A blues and C major pentatonic. Now C minor pentatonic is used when you're on a C minor key or when you're on C blues, like. Now that's C blues, but it's used when you're playing a lot of 7th chords, see? So just remember, there's a difference between C major pentatonic and C blues. Because C blues, you are on C major technically, and you could still use it because you're using a lot of the 7th, the flat 7th. Okay, so it's going to take some getting used to, but you can start off practicing that and playing on C. And then if you wanted to practice C blues, very good for 12-bar blues. It's just, okay. Let me know if this helped you. It's kind of like a fire hose throwing you into the deep end of improvisation, but I'm hoping that helps you with your accompaniment on your Go keys or whatever keyboard you've got. All right? Thank you very much. All the best.